Attention musicians of all levels. It's not always easy picking out a song by ear. Sometimes you need a little help. Well, I have the app for you. Whether you're a professional musician or a beginner, Ultimate Guitar is an amazing app. For just $2.99, you get the chords and tabs on guitar, bass, or ukulele for over 1 million songs. They're all available at your fingertips. You also get tools like a tuner, metronome, chord library, lessons, videos, and more. You can find out any song you want. It also has like transpose button. It has auto scroll that you can change the speed to so you can play along with the song. A lot of the songs have the lyrics there so you can sing along with them. Ultimate Guitar is an amazing app. Just go to ultimateguitar.com or download the app to your phone today and start playing. Start playing any song you want. Ultimate Guitar, that's the place for you. Let's get down. Hey gang, it's Johnny. I just want to take a second to talk to you guys about engagement. Right now, you're listening to the show, and I'm not sure exactly what platform you're listening to it on. But whatever platform you're listening to it on, you can subscribe to it and get an alert every time a new show drops, usually every Tuesday and every Friday. New shows every Tuesday and every Friday. Whatever platform you're listening on, be it Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Overcast, Stitcher, any platform, you can subscribe to it. And if you can leave a comment, leave a star, share it on your social media if it's something that you like, please do that. We encourage you to do that. And also, as far as social media goes, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I am at Johnny Gowdy on Instagram and Twitter. Give us a follow. Also, you can like our Facebook page. How did I get here? Please do. Anyway, all I want to say is, you like a show, share it, use the hashtag How Did I Get Here Pod. We'll give you a shout out. Thank you so much for listening to the show and engage. Let's get down.
And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here?
It's time for How Did I Get Here? And now here is your host,
All right. Hello, I'm Johnny. I'm your host. Welcome to the show. I hope you guys have all had a good week, whatever it is you did this week. I've been all right this week, man. My car, I told you guys, was smelling like gas, and then it stopped working on Sunday. I took it to my mechanic guy, dropped it off there, left it there, got a call on Wednesday, and they let me know what's wrong with it. There's a hole in my gas tank. Something flew up from the road at such a speed that it looks like someone shot a hole in my gas tank. They sent me a picture of it. It's insane. So the dude was like, oh, you know, it might be covered by insurance and stuff. I'm like, oh, yeah, maybe it is. So I go and I call my insurance company. But, of course, in 2020, when I was trimming the fat and I was whatever I was overpaying for, I decided to cut back, right? Because we're all, back in 2020, no one knew where all the money was going to be coming from. So I started cutting back on stuff, sort of like finding the things that were nickel and diming me, where I was spending like, $150 a year on this. Maybe I should just eliminate that and I'll have $150 more a year since I don't use it. So I changed my car insurance package to a cheaper one that did not include shit flying up from the road and destroying your car. And so it's not covered by insurance. So anyway, that's what's happening. It's a bummer. Sometimes you get setbacks like that and it sucks. But you know what? It didn't break down while I was driving home. It broke down like the next day, and I just coasted into a parking lot, waited for a tow. Like my friend Kim came and got me. Everything was super. It happened for a reason on that day, and so I'm lucky that it happened the way that it did, and not like on 35 at 1:30 in the morning. Right, Jake? Yeah. See, my friend Jake's here. He's just listening to me do an intro. He's trying to see if he was here since the beginning. He's seeing if I got any better at this, but apparently I haven't, because he's not cheering. Hey, gang, I want to let you know that I know there's a lot of stuff going on this weekend. I know the ACL's in town. I know that all this stuff is going on, but Sunday is John Lennon's birthday, and I would like you to come on out to the 32nd annual John Lennon birthday tribute featuring the Number 9 Orchestra and special guests. The Number 9 Orchestra is my friend Stephen Doster. He's been doing this for 32 years. My friend Darren Murphy's playing drums on the whole thing. My friend Sela is singing. All kinds of people are singing songs. Ty Hurlis. These are the people that I saw at the rehearsal the other day. I'm singing a couple songs. I'm actually singing 3 songs. I'm singing 2 songs on my own and then singing a group song that's going to be very special that I was invited to be a part of. I'm very excited about. But it's just all John Lennon music all night. And these people put their, they put it all into it. And if it's one thing they know is they know these songs, especially with my friend Darren up there, who's like a Beatle guy. He's been on the road with Christopher Cross and Todd Rundgren over the last couple of years, playing Beatles songs with like a host of like great singers and stuff. So he's in the zone. So you know this is going to be great. Sunday night, October 9th, 310 Austin City Limits Live. Go to 310 Austin and get tickets, 310austin.com. That's the number 3, the word 10, and austin.com. Get out there. The 32nd annual John Lennon birthday tribute featuring a lot of great people, including myself. I'm excited. You know, I've been doing it since 1993, and there wasn't one in 2020 or one in 2021, but I did do the 2019 one at 310. I sang Revolution there. And then I've been doing them since 1993, maybe missing 1 or 2 in all those years. So it's always really fun to go do this thing and get to see all your old friends and get to see people really paying tribute to this band and this man that made all this incredible music, because people are doing solo John stuff too. So that is this Sunday night, October 9th, 310 Austin City Limits Live. Go to 310austin.com for tickets and information. All right. Thanks for listening to that spiel. Gang, I have a great show for you guys today. Zach Black, guitar player and singer for the band Souls Extolled, is my guest on the show today. He's back on the show. He was on a couple years ago, but their brand new album, 2022, is on sale now. They're only dropping a single a month for streaming, so that's what they're doing for the whole year. So there should be only 9 or 10 songs available now on streaming, but you can buy the whole record by going to soulsextolled.com or going to their iTunes. They're about to head out on tour starting in November. All right. They're starting their tour out Saturday, November 5th here in Austin. Their West United States tour kickoff at the Mohawk. That's Saturday, November 5th. And they're heading out to El Paso. They're going to be doing California, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Utah, Denver, the whole thing. Go to soulsextolled.com. Find out if they're coming to a town near you. And actually, they're playing tomorrow, October 8th at Frights and Sounds Music Festival in San Marcos. That's Sean Patrick's Irish Pub in Texas Grub in San Marcos, Texas. As I said, go to soulsextolled.com for all of your Souls Extolled need. Zach and I have a great conversation about their music, about sort of like the progginess of their music, about putting out a song at a time, about how they handled the pandemic times, about making this record over at 501 Studios with our great friend Omar Vallejo. Yeah, get out there and check it out. Go to soulsextolled.com. Get involved with their record 2022. And without further ado, please enjoy my conversation with this fabulous dude, Zach Black. Let's get down. Do people not even watch this? Because, like, even if you do, they still teach Roman numerals at school?
I think I learned some Roman numerals back in the day, but the people who seem to get it the fastest are people who watch football because the Super Bowl. Yeah. So there, yeah. But a lot of other people just kind of goes by them. Bobby Sharon asked me.
Bobby Sharon.
Yeah, he's the man, dude. He's I love that guy, and he was like, "So is it 2022 or MMXXII?" I was like. He's like, because you keep saying MMXXII, but it means 2022. And I was like, man, honestly, you caught me unprepared on this one.
2022, that's the name of the album. Great job on the album. Also, look, Zach, I think it's really, I see a lot of people dropping something, say, on Bandcamp, and then a couple weeks to a month later comes out on a thing. And your jam was to drop this entire record, which is a whole record, which is not something everyone's doing anymore. But then now you can buy that whole record or hang out, and once a month you drop a single to the streaming services.
Precisely.
Did that work in a certain way? Like, did you notice something? Did it do something? Like, did it move the needle in any way?
I would say now that we're part of the way through it, for the most part, yes. I just think it allowed, instead of having one singular event and the whole record was out, You know what I mean? The fact that we dropped one a month really just created the opportunity to do like a separate promotion for each one, you know, at the very least a unique Instagram post or, you know, Facebook post. And when we drop each song, that really focuses on what that song's about. That's the song of this month. When we play the set, we can kind of highlight that song. And so I think it allowed there to be more attention on each individual song versus, you know, the theory a lot of people have been telling me for a long time is that dropping especially a long album, which we prefer to do because we're like old school rock heads.
There's a lot of, we're going to talk about
so we
that
want to
stuff.
drop albums, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But is that we should drop singles for that exact reason, sort of the attention span, this and that.
Well, the other thing too is the real estate of it, because where you're getting promoted is in a news feed, no matter what it's on, Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, or TikTok, whatever the fuck it is. I don't even know anymore, right? So whatever it is, it's just going by like that.
Yeah.
So if there's 12 songs in that thing, then that's it. You lost the
Exactly.
thing. So the single gives you a little bit more real estate and a little bit more of a here's this song and here's
Right.
and people can't handle like a whole record.
Because
Like I
people
just
told
want to
me
like
that,
it, and move on.
A lot of people told me that when you drop like a whole record or EP, several folks who were, you know, giving me advice were just like, you know, how many people do you think have the attention span, man? He's like, even a band that you like, they drop, you know, 10, 12 songs. Are you
Isn't
going to
that
listen to
weird?
the whole record? I was like, well, me, yes,
Right,
but
right.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And then I sort of, the fact that it became a whole album was actually me reverting back to my tendency. I was like, we're going to just do 12 singles. It wasn't really going to be an album. Then once we had it all together, I was like, man, I want to be able to package it individually for promotion and like when, you know, I send it out to playlists and stuff, be able to, you know, not send them the whole album, but each individual song kind of marketed a certain way to different playlists and different
Right.
genres and stuff. But once we got to, you know, close to the end, I was like, you know, I'm also going to make it a record because I want to have one CD that kind of ties it all together, be able to like re-release it.
Well,
Here.
also you can monetize it that way, because if you have fans that'll buy something from you, then they'll buy that recording, which is just almost unheard of at this point. Like,
Yeah.
wait, someone's going to buy it? That's why I did the same. Like last year, I released some singles and I released them on Bandcamp for a couple weeks, and then like
I
see if I
feel-
can get 99 cents from people.
I really feel like the people who are buying it are doing it like just to support us. You know what I mean? Because they can like, you know, if they're, we know everybody who like listens to our music. You know, we're not like a huge band; they're like our homies. And so if they want to hear it, here's the SoundCloud link or whatever. You know,
Right.
the songs are coming out every month. But people go and buy it or buy the CD just to like support us and, you know, take something away, like, you know, have that physical copy of it that they own.
Right. You did it at 512 Studios again, right? Didn't you do the first one there?
No, actually, no. So we have kind of like two sets of songs from before this one. There's Follow the Ghosts,
Right.
and then we did Seraphic War EP,
Right.
and two singles that were recorded at the same time that we released after, The Crucible and Rabbit Hole. And both of those were recorded at Fifth Street Studios.
All right.
Sorry about that. There's been a little bit
Goddamn
of
right, you're right about that. No, I'm just joking.
silence is golden.
I do it all the time. My phone, my ringer's probably on a charger in another room.
What was that? What were we? So yeah, but it was a little bit of an evolution because the first time we did it at Fifth Street with Evan Kleinecke, and he's a great guy. The only criticism I've ever heard of him, I think, is a great criticism, like a compliment basically, that he's going to get the most honest recordings of your band. And us being a band who's sat in the garage for such a long time, like messing with the amps and we're gearheads, you know, we loved that. But Evan doesn't really do a lot of like post-production and stuff. So the album's a little more raw. And I realized like when we were getting to the end of that, it's weird because I wasn't at the experience level where I knew exactly what I wanted, but I knew I wanted to do something to kind of like add some more modern elements. So on the second one, I brought in Clint Manning, who I had worked with on some solo stuff. And he basically has like a home studio, but he's great at producing and stuff. I was working with a hip hop act, and they had a beat basically that I was playing guitar to, and they were like, "Hey, we want you to add a whole section to the song that's like changes the key and stuff." And you know, I was like, "Man, it's gonna be really hard for him to create a beat, you know, in MIDI and stuff that sounds like this compressed beat that we have in there." But he was able to do it. I was like, this guy's amazing. So I brought him in for the second one, and Evan basically engineered on this one, and then we bounced everything to Clint. And that time I was able to add, you know, backing synths, do, you know, different vocal stuff at his house, add some backing guitars, and just have a little bit more of that going on.
Yeah.
But then 512 Studios was just an awesome opportunity that we ran into because one of Omar's friends, basically, someone who's affiliated with the studio and helps him with a lot of stuff, saw me and JP play at the WTF Jam downtown, where it's mostly like blues cats and stuff. And our buddy Samir Durrani told us to come out there, and we were like, can we get up there and play like some punk songs, and they were like, yeah. So we went up there and did it. And then she talking to her after, she was like, I'm going to, drop your name to Omar. I think he would like you guys. And we were like, cool. And maybe a day later, Omar called me and he was like, come be on the 512 Studios live show on the CW.
Cool.
So we went in and did that. And once we met Omar and just saw, the quality of the studio and his production skills, even running that show, we knew we wanted to do the next record there,
Yeah. That's a nice studio, man. I've hung out there a lot. I did not come during your session. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, man. I was
didn't
trying to
invite me.
get some
I'm
people to
sorry.
come
I know,
through and
I
hang
know,
out. No
I know.
problem, man.
I always feel bad. I used to do it all the time, and I'll do it with people that I know real well. Like I could walk in on a fight and be like,
Yeah.
"Oh shit, hey man, where's the Cokes?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Guys got chips. But there was a band, and it was during the podcast. It was like 5-6 years ago, and they're like, "Hey, come by the thing," and I came, and it was like a fucking meltdown, is what I walked into.
Oh, man.
Like a fucking 30 minutes earlier when I was like, "Hey," I was like, "Oh yeah, man, it's fucking the vibe,"
Yeah.
I get there, and it was the end of the vibe, and I was kind of standing in the doorway, and I just kind of left without saying anything.
We are so lucky, man. I mean, knock on wood over here.
Yeah.
But we are such a low drama band, when I try and think of the disagreements we've had, even it's they're so small.
How long have the three of you been? Another thing is too, it's three of you guys. So there's you know what I mean? And is there who comes up with the idea of the stuff? Usually there's a guy that's the guy.
Definitely it's my baby in that regard.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I guess the songwriting all starts with me usually waking up every day. I basically go to my couch still in my underwear in my living room like this and just smoke weed and start playing guitar.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Mostly acoustic, actually.
my 20s.
I mostly play the acoustic with no picks. My hands are always all nasty, my fingernails and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, I just sit there and play some covers and some things I'm diddling with, and then here and there the spigot just opens up, and songs just start flowing. And I write more stuff down now, but usually I'll say it's just in the tank, and if I remember it some amount of months later, if it doesn't just kind of fade into the back of everything else I'm writing, then I bring it into the garage with the boys. And even though I'm definitely the idea guy, they have much better minds for arrangement, just musicality in general. I'm untrained, so I don't know what chords I'm playing and stuff.
Right.
So then we definitely fine tune it, figure out how to present it, change it, arrange it all together.
Yeah. That seems to be a healthy band then they all know their place. They're not gonna, maybe they'll come in with an idea, but everyone has a way of how it works. Hey, he brings in this thing, we kind of chip away at it, make it a real thing.
Yeah.
And then and everybody gets credit. Is that, because that also keeps everyone interested
I think
and
it's
together.
I think
Keeps
the way
everyone
we
from
have
hating
it is
the main
where I
guy.
get the songwriting credits, but then there's other types of credits or something. Even though Joe Valdez, who I think you've talked to before from Fair City Fire, Brian Wolf's drummer as well. He's the drummer for us for Souls Extolled. He kind of handles all that stuff for us in terms of registering the songs and everything.
Did Joe play with me at a thing?
No,
No, Joe. I think he played with me.
Oh, did Joe play with you?
I was going up to play, and I was like, "You want to play some drums?" And he's like, "I don't know your stuff." I was like, "Come on, man, you can do it."
He's talked about you before, in context of the show and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure about that. It wouldn't
think he
surprise
did.
me. He definitely can jump in. Him and JP both can jump in and play with anybody.
Yeah.
JP plays with Atosh. He just played with them at Sahara Lounge, and they're crazy time signatures and keys and all kinds of stuff.
I was going to ask that about you, because not only let's talk about this, your classic rock upbringing, and sort of because you're in another time from where the age you are. You're in it. There's a
Feels
weird
like
sort
it,
of
man.
you were definitely born even after the time that you're kind of like your main focus?
I have
your
no
main
music
influence?
radar for like what's going on right now with music and what's popular right now, what people really like right now. I don't know. I realize now that's sort of a flaw. Where, like a lot of my friends, like I think in some ways, I'm also very proud of this in a different regard, but in some ways they sort of designed their band to be more targeted in terms of like, at least, even if they're pretty diverse in their music, at least sort of branding it a certain way. And for us, man, like everything has just been so spontaneous in terms of like how we named the band and the songs we write and stuff. We're like, we just go in and try and make something that we think is cool. Not trying to be any particular genre or whatever. And then, once we make it, then we're like, okay, what should we call this? And how do we, we want people to like it and stuff. But at the creative stage, it's just like a free for all. You know what I mean?
Right. It seems also like there are some prog elements in your thing. And I think that a 3-piece lends itself just because that there's only 3 people. Mm-hmm. There's a line. This is so weird, but I fucking swear to God, I had a trio at one point, like for a year and a half or something.
Yeah.
And we played all the time. And all of a sudden, I could take songs to a different place. Like once we played together for a little while, and in the moment, like change gears, and they could hear it, they could see it, they could feel it. And I think it's because of just 3 people. Because there's a line of sight, everyone can see each other. You can all 3 turn inward and be like, okay, you're sitting there watching, you're like, this guy's going on a little long with this. I bet he's going to bring it down. And there he goes. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, absolutely, man. Somebody asked like the main difference between our live set and the record. And one thing is I always say to like some extent we're jamming the songs, which is exactly what you're talking about. I mean, they're probably falling 75 or 85% like the record in terms of like the arrangement and the core elements of the songs being the same, but we're definitely always sort of jamming them, you know what I mean, doing them maybe a slightly different tempo, messing around with the pocket, stops and hits being added or taken away, so a lot of spontaneity, and JP, that's one of his big things, is like what makes great music is musicians communicating.
That's
so
exactly.
If people love the song, we want them to hear the parts of the song they like, but what's going to make those special moments happen is when we all communicate on stage. And
exactly right. Yeah, that's the magic, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's a lot of I don't know exactly how deep you guys got into sort of like the twiddling with everything once it's in this computer thing. Mm-hmm. But there is a feeling of like, did you guys cut the shit live? Like the 3 of you guys playing in a room or?
Oh yes. Yeah. And then like the first 2 definitely are very, very close to that. Like in 512 Studios, we definitely went back and did more overdubs.
Right. But you can lay the foundation is the 3 you guys communicating. Mm-hmm. And instead of carving out perfection, you're capturing magic.
Yeah, when
I mean?
first had to fill out a little form and they said, was it recorded live or in the studio? I was like, well, kind of both.
Right. Right.
But no, absolutely. And then we have had, so on the record, it comes across as more of a 5-piece. A huge surprise was not knowing, I didn't want to lose all the progress we had made with Clint in terms of me not being a producer. So like, I'd be like, man, I want the voice to sound more crazy, I want it to sound more wild, and he would translate that into certain effects, so I kind of brought Clint in to co-produce with Omar to kind of him to be able to translate, if you will, in terms of those things. But he ended up, Omar just is so good at squeezing the juice out of everyone and figuring out what they're good at, so he started throwing Clint guitar and then baritone guitar. And Clint just ended up putting down these crazy backing layers of guitar on there, as well as, some cool backing vocals. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But then you're able to pull this off as a 3-piece live, too.
So live,
you're able to put a little extra icing on the cake.
We have done one show. We've done a couple shows with Andy Leonard from Trouble in the Streets on the synth, who did all our synths on there.
Yeah.
Another big difference maker is he came and worked with us before and also developed the click tracks. And because we're changing tempo so much, he was able to like make those click tracks for us with the tempo changes, bring them into the garage so we could adjust those and get them feeling like as natural as possible.
Right.
And so we've done some shows with him, and then we did one show with everybody, the Flamingo Cantina release show for the album. And it was awesome. I mean, I'm not going to say I don't love playing with more members, but it is also just different. When we played with more members, we have such a bigger like wall of sound going on.
Right.
And for me, my job is easier because now I'm not me and JP aren't the only bodies to move and entertain. My guitar is just one of all these things going on.
Right.
And
you can lay out if you want.
Kinda, yeah. But like you said, as a 3-piece, there's this openness. And then I have this crazy setup where I'm splitting my guitar channel into 2 before it goes into anything. And then I have my normal guitar chain, which is the same tone we've been using since the beginning. But the other one goes through an electro harmonics pedal that turns it into a synth with no guitar signal, and then a crazy reverb behind that just makes it big. And I have that going through a second amp on stage. So like when I go like dan dan, it just goes like whoa.
Yeah.
And so I have that going on, which I've gotten a lot of compliments on. But the goal was, as a 3-piece, I don't want to just sound like bass, drums, and guitar and like just have, those are
right.
Especially if you listen to a lot of modern music, just that almost sounds kind of thin compared to like a lot of stuff that we're listening to. So just having that big synth, they put it in the PAs, it kind of envelopes around the band. Yeah. I think it makes a huge difference.
So you guys, you put out your last record in 2019? Yeah.
So
Something like that?
Seraphic War came out like towards the end of the pandemic. So I want to say
okay.
December of 2020.
Okay.
Or that's an EP.
Okay.
So I always call it like an album.
The first thing is when you came on here.
Yeah, the first one was Follow the Ghost in 2019.
What happened? What did you guys have going on? What did you guys have going for spring of 2020 that you had to cancel? And
oh man,
what happened? What ended up going on?
Well, it was just like, we started basically February 1 year earlier. So we jumped in, started playing like house parties and stuff, had our first South by. And then from there, we were just like hitting the music scene for the first time. Some of our buddies were owners at Scratch House. So we threw a bunch of shows at Scratch House there across from Empire. And we're just having a great time. And we're getting ready for our second South by. We had a bunch of shows on the books. And but we always like to do something weird and creative, so we were going to go out and busk as well one day during South by, just like take a car out with an inverter and set up the amps on the street and just play a rock show.
That's cool. Yeah.
So yeah, it was that was the last show we played. I think it was like the Sunday before all the major South by stuff, and then everything went down and it canceled, man. And it felt like, we just didn't know what was going to happen like everyone else. We were also such a young band. So, but it turned out really good because really, we a couple months after, once we were like not all completely quarantined.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I'm getting at. What happened? What did you do?
We got back in
you like Zach. What did Zach like? It's March 13th or whatever. They cancel all the shit. They're like 14th or 15th. They're like, it's over. Tiger King premieres on Netflix. What's going on?
Yeah,
You're watching a news thing every day?
I dropped into all kinds of little creative things that I never would have had the time to do otherwise. It was really weird because I thought I was going to be super miserable and lonely because I'm such like a social creature. I'm always out and about at all the shows and stuff. And but yeah, man, I started writing like a fantasy novel.
Oh, really?
And I don't know how to produce still, but I downloaded Fruity Loops and I made like a hip hop record at home and
cool,
made
man.
a reggae record.
Put that weed to work, man.
I smoke. I'm a chimney, you know what I mean? So I smoked a shitload of weed. And then one. So
that's cool, man.
I was keeping busy. I'm a news junkie. I'm like a fantasy novel junkie.
Okay, wait a minute. So So I'm a news junkie too, but like there's a part of the junkiness that was just like watching the things every day when they come out, and the lady with the scarf and the Fauci.
I definitely have become I studied political science and religion in college.
Oh, really?
Yeah, at UT. And I think that studying it, I developed more of an interest in the subjects than hard opinions, which is why I think I'm really annoying for people to talk to. I do have opinions, but they change a lot.
I know exactly what you mean.
You know what I'm saying?
I have a fantasy, like my fantasy life of where I'm not a musician or in music. I'm a guy that got a political science degree and became like a campaign advisor.
Yeah.
Manage like some kind of, but the game of it is I no matter what, I get sad sometimes because the stake, especially now, like the stakes are really ugly. Like there's such a nastiness and like a fragile democracy. You get to see kind of like shake, and you're like, oh fuck, what's it? We going to lose our thing? But I do enjoy it, like the game.
So
of
I
it
should
all,
say,
and, like,
in
how
terms
does
of
a
the
candidate become a candidate, and what do they do to get elected, and all that shit. Yeah. I
When
love
people
that.
tell me that they're not interested in that, I'm just like, well, that's weird to me because it's the most important thing. You get what I'm saying? Like, if God is real, then that's the most important thing, which is the religion part of it. You know what I mean? But outside of that, what determines, like, what happens with our society on the bigger picture and stuff, man?
Yeah.
It's what happens at the voting booth. It's these politicians. It's these institutions. And I'm totally with you. I guess I just meant, in terms of the news junkie thing, I'm definitely not, like, watching it every day and getting stressed out. I think if you watch it enough, you just can sort of see a lot of, like, the clown show or the headlines for
Right.
what they're always trying to stir you up and make you upset.
Right, but you didn't get like a little freaked out watching those weird things where the guy's just drink bleach, and like the lady's like, no, you can't
At
drink
the
bleach,
same
and you're like,
time,
what's
man,
happening?
I got more politicized than ever in my life just because, like, I guess for me, I came from a conservative background. You know what I mean? My dad's a military officer. And I grew up in Hawaii, though. And so I always had really liberal teachers and stuff. And I think by the time I was like 15 or 16, I knew a lot of things, that I was anti-war, even though my dad's a veteran, you know, a lot of things like that. But I had a hard time, like, being outward about it.
Don't you think everyone's like anti-war to a certain extent? Everyone.
Maybe.
Even somebody like
Maybe in theory.
yeah, except for like an aggressor.
I mean, yeah,
You know what I mean?
No, for sure. That I was against the particular wars
Right.
that, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of things like that. And I think that when I came to UT at first, I, at some point, maybe even told you I was like a conservative or center right when I was like early in college. Not because I didn't feel like I was extremely on the left, but also I think I got here and was like sort of defensive because the liberalism here was so much more aggressively attacking those things. You know what I mean? And even now,
Austin,
you know,
Austin is aggressively liberal.
I have very, very left views.
Yeah.
But I still like love my family and stuff, and that was a hard. That was just hard for me to get through. By the end of college, I was definitely, you know, a liberal, and, you know, was supporting like local institutions that were for the things that I wanted and stuff. But it wasn't until Trump and the social justice stuff that it activated me for the first time, of saying, like, you know, man, at some point I've got to like be an adult and stop like talking about politics. But I'd be one of those guys who's, you know, I'm not going to vote for any of those fuckers, whatever, right? To being like, you know, man, I need to start taking responsibility for this shit. I need to start voting. I need to start being a part of this, because exactly what you're saying, man. I think that the country is super fragile right now, and there's like really dangerous elements where, you know, I feel personally that Trump would have stolen the election if he was able to.
I mean, there's no.
You know what I mean?
There's no.
And the fact that that's not a no for so many people is freaky, of course.
But the insanity is that you have to say that you believe that he, but you just look at all the evidence, and he did. He did. Like, there's no.
Absolutely.
I believe he did. There's no, like, the fact is the dude didn't get the numbers, said he did, and wanted it.
And like what we don't know, I guess me and you do know, but the only reason opinion, because he wasn't able to pull it off, right? And I'm saying, like, if there was some element, like, let's say the military or someone was willing to back him and do it, I think he would have done it. But also what I'll say, because I think I'm very optimistic about a lot of things, is when I actually talk to people, conservative people on the right, Trump supporters, you know, you name it. Yeah. The difference and the gaps are way smaller than you think sitting at home, like watching your TV.
Right.
People are way more civil, way more understanding than it's painted out to be.
Yes.
So there is some hope there. You know?
The TV that you're talking about is probably 24-hour news stations on any level, and their only job is to scare the fuck out of you so you won't change the channel. I mean, that's all they're doing. Like, you know, they're coming to get you, and you go to the other thing. They're coming to get you, and you're like, wait a minute, everyone's coming to get me. What the fuck is going on? You know, like, they're gonna take my guns, and then this guy's gonna never let me have an abortion if I have to. You know, if I get raped by my cousin Steve or something. You know what I mean? Like, there's just all this shit, and they scare the fuck out of you to sell fucking soap or whatever the fuck it is they're selling. You know what I mean? Right. And that's a part that's really gross, because what that's done is they get so much profit from pushing whatever it is they're pushing, that the truth and the way news used to be delivered. It's funny, I have a sister, and she is one of those people that's like, oh no, I watch Fox News and then I watch CNN, so I'm balanced. I'm like, no, you're just getting a bunch of fucking shit from everyone. You know what I mean? Yeah. So she's like, well, what do you watch? I'm like, I watch like the PBS nightly news.
There you go.
She tried to watch it, and she's like, dude, this is boring. I'm like, Yeah.
It's real news.
Yeah, but there's no one freaking you out, dude. They're just fucking saying the things that happen during the day. Like
I get
there's
very
no
frustrated with the false equivalency between, I guess I'll just say like left and right media. You know what I mean? CNN is bad, MSNBC is bad, but nothing compared to Fox News. And then,
dude.
people will draw that equivalency, which is, I think, the whole purpose of the continuous lying of some of these stations is to cloud the truth enough where no one knows what's going on and therefore they can control it, but like to me, people just say like, oh, there's just no good media out there. You know what I mean? And I'm like,
yeah, there is.
NPR. Yeah. NPR. The BBC does shows about us. You can hear them talk very objectively about us, actually, because they're
their money, like the money and their ratings and all that stuff isn't like made by scaring the fuck out of you. It's by raising money so that they can keep on doing the reporting that they do. It's just kind of like normal.
But you're also much braver than me in saying like you'd be like involved in like political campaigns and stuff. While I'm super interested in how that stuff works, I'm truthfully terrified of being criticized. And I also
there's another guy getting criticized is the thing. You know what I mean? They criticize you like, fuck you, man. I'm not running for office.
My opinions also are so flexible because I'm really interested in like what's behind all these ideas that I really believe that my mind can be changed. You know what I'm saying? So
one guy doesn't only have bad ideas and another guy only has good ideas. It's just a matter of which good ideas they have and bad ideas that they, you know what I mean? That you can...
Like, I made a thing one time. I was like, maybe if I did some kind of music podcast related to the band, I would love to get people on and it would be a short podcast, but maybe have a questionnaire that cuts deep. Like, who are you? Where are you from? Like, what do you believe? So you really find out about these people more deeper than what you normally get. And everyone I mentioned that to is like, so you're going to get us all canceled, bro? That's what you're trying to do? You know what I mean? And so I don't know.
That's another thing. I think that we need to face sort of the ability that people, like the fact that there's human redemption in this world, has to be brought back. Like the belief that somebody, you know what I mean? Like someone can, like, Bill Cosby, somebody who for decades systematically raped people. That's a different story than like a Louis C.K. who pulled his wiener out to some people when in a bad move.
Yeah. Everybody's fallible, man. Everybody's fallible, and like there's definitely some line somewhere where you cause enough damage in someone's life and you have to pay for it. I definitely am glad. For the most part, I'm not anti-woke culture, as a lot of people say. It's like a big thing right now. I think that it's mostly been good for society.
Yeah, totally.
But
it is a little...
Absolutely.
It's a little thought policey.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's so weird to me that that's becoming a lot of what the left is, like to me, a lot of times, I meet these like, quiet conservative kids who are really just like, don't give a fuck kids. And they're a lot more edgy and interesting than a lot of my comrades, if you will. You know what I'm saying? And so I just feel like we're supposed to be the weird ones who like are like pushing different opinions and embracing different ideas and stuff more so. But
that was a healthy conversation that we just had about just sort of like, the stuff that we have to face as artists. I mean, we got to think about now what, I mean, there was a point where like spanking women with a fish backstage was like the legend of Led Zeppelin. Now it's like, they what? I mean, but even, I, not that I'm like super woke or whatever anybody says.
I'm not either.
But ever since I first heard that stuff, when I tried to read The Dirt when it first came out 20 years ago or whatever, I put it down because it grossed me out. Like I was like, I don't like human beings being treated badly. Men,
as much
women,
as
anybody.
I'm in another generation. I've had like some older rockers sometimes tell us stories that are supposed to be cool about things they've done. Let's say trashing a hotel room.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I know this doesn't go along with like what I guess my image is supposed to be, but me, JP, and Joe are nice kids, man. And we're all Mexicans. Like, we're not trashing a fucking hotel room.
Exactly, because poor fucking lady's going to have to come in and clean it up for $4.25 an hour. Exactly.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So we're we always try to be, like, really respectful. I remember even in Valhalla one time, there's a good crowd in there before us, but it wasn't really moving. So me and JP just started to act crazy and run around, and we're running into each other. And when one of them hits me, my beer glass just goes flying up in the air and smashes. And it worked in terms of the crowd. Everyone started getting a little crazy. But I went to Seth, who's owner over there, great guy, is always taking care of us, and was like, dude,
sorry, man.
That was an accident, by the way, man. I'm really sorry. You know, we respect this place and stuff. Like, I'll clean it up. Like, you have a broom and shit. He was like, dude, you guys are all good, man. You know what I mean? But we always try to,
I feel like I'm at the age of like within a year of like the Radiohead guy and like Kurt Cobain and like Eddie Vedder. We're all like within a year and a half of each other age wise. And I think that we all have the same kind of like, Nirvana wasn't all pissing on one girl backstage.
That's what
it's.
They seem to represent that actually.
Yeah.
And even though I don't doubt
a lot of
that
us
it's
have
true,
single moms too that are like, hey man, you can't fucking.
I don't know much about where that came from, but I don't doubt that it's true. And I think that's like, that was part of that Woodstock 99 documentary. It's all about how sort of toxic everything was. And I think it was in that they kind of point to Nirvana and some other bands as sort of being like the anti that.
None of those guys were there. You know what I mean? Like none of those guys were.
It's like
present.
what Obama says, with everything, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. They were like a couple steps forward, and then in the early 2000s, it kind of slid back again. And then, have you seen that new Elvis movie by any chance?
No, because I hate Baz Luhrmann, the guy that directed it.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't even. Yeah, so
I fucking hate that guy.
I will say that I can't judge movies very well because I'm so high all the time, and I just have low standards. Like, I love that Green Lantern movie that Ryan Reynolds makes, that he makes fun of himself. Like, I thought that was good.
I don't think I ever saw it.
People seem to universally agree that. I don't know, but they say something in the movie.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
because he tells one of the guys tells Elvis in the movie something like, when it's too dangerous. I think B.B. King tells him this, but he's like, when it's too dangerous to say, sing. And I think that I found like great comfort in that concept, especially as someone who like generally isn't putting lines in the sand. Like, hey, this is what I think. What do you think? Like, we're at a battle.
Right.
Like, all of our songs, even though a lot of them are about, stuff like that, have double meanings. Like 1K Red Balloons is about the military-industrial complex, right? It's saying, are you ever bothered by the 1,000 red balloons flying up above the conquered? Let them know what they've got to lose. That's what we've got to lose. That's like the main line. The red balloons being the military-industrial complex. But then it goes into this sort of hook where I'm like, point and shoot. We'll do it all to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We'll show you that it's true. Point and shoot. So it's kind of saying, like, for me, it's saying, like, point and shoot to the military-industrial complex. Like, we're the rebellion. We'll give it back to you.
Right.
But I could definitely see someone reading it as a celebration of, like, we're conquering all these motherfuckers. You know what I mean? And it's meant to have those double meanings. It's meant to start a conversation more than try to push something into your face. You know,
like classic stories like that where like Born in the USA, like Ronald Reagan's re-election campaign, he started using it in the thing, and like Bruce Springsteen was like, dude, are you not listening to the lyrics, bro? It's not just Born in the USA and that's it. There's like, the guy's like, hey, my life sucks, I was born in the USA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The USA's fucked my shit up.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
But I was born in it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I know, like, politically, I had a little anecdote with Omar where his favorite song on the record's Propaganda Song. That one's very outwardly like just the Communist Manifesto, like Eat the Rich type of song.
Yeah.
And he was saying that was his favorite. I told him what it was about, and he very kindly was just like, man, those types of things, I would recommend that you leave your opinion on those things like a mystery. Like, leave it a mystery. Like, that's better. You know what I mean? People will like embrace you more and then listen to you more when you talk, which I appreciate the advice. But I said to him, I was like, Omar, I fucking love you, man. And like, I really want to take all your advice and stuff. But one thing about me is the music is all about what it's about. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of sounds to me. And lots of people I know could make great sounds, but the music that inspires me is about stuff that makes me think, that challenges me. And so to me, if I'm not doing that, there's just no reason for me to be here.
Exactly.
And he told me, he was like, I'll let you make whatever you want, man. Like, you're a smart kid, and whatever you want to make, I'll make it sound good. And that just like meant so much to me.
Yeah.
Especially because I, assume he doesn't completely agree, or based on, you know what I mean.
Sure. Yeah. That would work for somebody like Def Leppard. That would probably be pretty good advice. But like, well, you can't say that to Rage Against the Machine. You know what I mean? Like their whole thing is that.
Some people are saying that like some folks are apparently just realizing that they're like a really political band or whatever, like it wasn't that's what I've heard. Yeah, they didn't really catch it before.
I mean, I could see that too. If there's someone's not listening to lyrics and they're just getting into like the thing, they don't really know what these guys are saying. Those guys are fucking communists, man.
Well, my biggest hesitation on it is just that like I really care about a lot of these issues, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want to use them to just propel myself forward because it's a hot issue. So like we wrote Seraphic War, that EP, right when all the social justice stuff was going on. we were out there in the streets one of those days and saw things get like really hairy.
During the
And-
protests, post George Floyd?
Yeah, we were out there the Sunday that, you know, we took the highway and there was like,
Oh, yeah, I remember that day.
it
I
was
watching on TV.
crazy, man. I mean, I've never seen anything like that, and I think it's one of the reasons I got so changed and so activated, because I went down there with the intention of not getting involved, mainly because I would have told you then I don't believe in non-violent protests.
What then,
overall?
what then were you going down there for? To see what was going on?
So
You
Joe
bored?
was down there. He was saying we should come down there, and me and JP were like, "Man, we want to go check it out, but we, you know, don't want to be up there where they're getting violent with the cops, because with us, you know, we just felt like if there's going to be violence, you know, it's going to go
Yeah.
both ways.
Yeah.
And we also are like smart enough to know that would hurt what they're trying to do out there.
Exactly.
So we basically went down there with a bunch of water, man. We picked up a bunch of water bottles and went like behind where it was when it was still moving around downtown. So we were kind of like following the crowd a little bit. And then, you know, when people were running out tear gas and stuff, we were just like giving them water bottles and
That's really
helping
cool,
them.
man.
And then we went over to where you could see the highway, like 7th Street, basically.
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the east side of the
Sure.
highway, there's like a bank
Yeah,
of grass.
of course.
And that's when we just saw, you know, a bunch of the protesters taking the highway, and the cops came to clear out the highway, man. And we just saw them like beating the shit out of like, you know, girls who looked like our girlfriends and shit. You know what I mean? Out there just, you know, who had their hands up and stuff. And we just knew like, if anyone's going to be out there getting their ass beat by the cops, it's, you know, it needs to be us. We're fucking young men, you know? So at that point we couldn't not get involved. And, you know, that whole incident really activated me just because I think it was the visual of just seeing that place in Austin where like so many of the good times
Yeah.
happen, you know, where like, for me, where it was all my dreams happened. I saw that downtown and was right there. And so like, man, this is where, and just seeing that type of violence and stuff out there just really changed me. And so we went, and naturally it came into some of the songs, you know, Seraphic War. The title of the record's all about basically like Paradise Lost, like the war between Satan and God. But it's a symbol in Paradise Lost of like monarchy versus democracy, or like authority versus freedom.
Sure.
And so, you know, Allegiant Swine is the one that got really specific about experiences that we've had with the cops personally, tying into what happened out there. And once we had this record, I was like, man, we're going to drop this, and like we can't accept any money if we make money off of this, like not right now.
Oh,
So
cool.
any money we make from that record, we donate it to Police Oversight Project. But in terms of talking about that stuff, you know, my only hesitation, more than the fact that I don't want to get criticized or people hate me because of what I believe, I also just don't want to like be using it to propel us
Your
when
success. Of course.
You get what I'm saying?
Of course, man. Of course. That's a fine. I appreciate that. I wouldn't think that that's what you were doing. If you're out there fucking handing out water, you're not trying to sell more records because of this.
Yeah.
You're you know, it's tough. That's a tough bone for me too, because you know there was a lot of it was hard not to write what you were being inundated with in the summer of 2020, this giant political thing, this giant social thing, this, you know, fucking virus, stuck at home, fighting yourself, your mind's going nuts, you're smoking more weed than you ever have.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
maybe not. Maybe just the same amount.
I mean, I definitely like pedal to the metal. I mean, I would like wake up and be like, well, what the fuck? Might as well be high during this fucking sad bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, for sure. Yeah, like Allegiant Swine, I think it came from a criticism I got from some close friends of mine when we started talking politics. It surprised me that they were not somewhat liberal or whatever, but they were like, man, what is your problem, dude?
Yeah.
Like, you are fine. Like,
Yeah.
is the
Yeah, yeah,
the system's obviously
yeah.
working fine for you. You're good
Right,
to go. Like, what's
exactly,
the up with all this
exactly.
complaining?
Exactly.
And I was like, man, if the people who benefit from the system, who have privilege, like I do, don't use whatever wherewithal they have to try to make things better, then things are only going to get worse.
Yeah,
They're only
and what are we doing?
They're going to stay the same and even get worse for people from like the middle class like me, but then the people who don't have any privilege are just going to get left behind. Like, this is the most American thing that any American do, is criticize the government and try to make society better. And so the chorus of that song of Allegiant Swine on Seraphic War really hits that home, just saying, you know, people will say that things get better, telling us what we take for granted. People will say that things are better. We're not going to wait. We're going to change it.
That's
You know what
great.
I mean?
Yeah.
It's hard, though. It makes me like emotional because, you know, what are the odds that we will?
Did I just get you to cry on my show? Fuck yeah, dude.
Become a
Barbara
fucking
Walters shit is going
crybaby,
on.
bro.
What's a tune Never Like Before? I like that tune a lot. What's going on with that tune?
Yeah, man. So the lick was coming from me messing around with a lot of like Modest Mousy chords, like Float On, The World at Large type of stuff. And man, that one's just really about time and change and how you tend to kind of like the F. Scott Fitzgerald, he's always chasing the light at the end of the harbor, but he's rowing against the current, you know that thing from The Great Gatsby?
Yeah.
So the girl, that he is chasing from a relationship he had in the past.
Right. Yes. Okay. Now I know exactly. Yeah.
The
I know
green
exactly
light across the base
yeah.
symbolizes like his past, and he's rowing against the current. And so Never Like Before is just exactly that, man. Just how it's like it's really sad sometimes realizing how time passes, and it's really about like your friends and just seeing everything move past you. And like saying the chorus on that one just hits the point home as well. It's never really like before, but we know that we've got to carry on. But it won't ever be like it was, when we were never going to grow apart. Like we believed, and
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's a good tune.
I love that one, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
we're dropping that one this in September here.
Oh, really?
So yeah.
I'll put it on the show then.
Hell yeah, dude.
Okay.
It's going to be fun. That one also, I like do all my different voices because I sing the like super falsetto voice in the second one. So I go from like the bobo like never like before to like I feel bad sometimes. So I like doing that. I'm hoping one day I'll trick people and they'll be like, "Is there more than one singer on there?" But everyone seems to know it's me. So
that's awesome, man. How many tours have you guys done? Because you're doing a tour November 8th to November 20th, and the fucked up thing, man. I'll be honest with you, dude. That is a fucking packed tour. There's like, it seems like it's longer. When I saw, like, I looked at all the dates, and then I saw the ended on the 20th. I was like, oh shit, they're playing almost every day.
So we've only toured around Texas and stuff. We were planning to trying to go farther out before the pandemic hit, and then working back from there. So it took us longer than we wanted. But we usually played in like Houston, Dallas, San Antonio. We go to the border a lot. We go to Laredo, McAllen.
Oh yeah. They like fucking rock and roll there, dude.
I love those places, man.
Yeah.
Even though last time, if you went a little straight, we came back from Laredo, we got arrested by the Border Patrol temporarily, and our car impounded and such. So some things can happen down there, but no, it's great.
Things can happen.
But yeah, with this album, man, we decided to try to put together a tour. We had some people help us out, but we didn't know we were going to be able to play all these places we wanted to play. So
you're going to LA, you're going to fucking San Diego, you're going to El Paso.
Yeah, April we did a crazy run too. It's here, New Orleans, Nashville, Chicago, Akron, Indianapolis, Baltimore, Brooklyn, Philly, DC.
Jesus.
And just night after night after night. And we also are kind of on vacation when we're out there because we're like, I had never been to Chicago. JP had never been to New York.
Right.
So we usually will party with the other bands and stuff after the show till 3, 4 in the morning. And then someone bites the bullet, drives us the first 3 hours down the road while we all crash. And we'd usually drive, through the night because it's 6, 7, 8 hour drives. Get to the next city by 1 or 2.
And then you can kind of go out and see some shit.
We went to Chicago, went to like a Cubs game.
Oh,
you know
awesome,
what I'm saying?
Man.
Like
Yeah, that's
we're
cool
having
as
fun.
shit, man.
We're tired as hell, but we're having fun.
If it makes touring is so much fun when you get to kind of just at least taste a little bit everywhere you go.
And I was a little worried. Some of our friends were like, man, you have to do these drives. Like, y'all aren't going to make it. Like, no offense. You guys are all kind of like motherfuckers. You guys party. You know what I mean? And I was like, dude, if I have, my heart is beating and the car is not broken, we're going to make it. And it actually, now I just have tremendous confidence because of how responsible we were with everything with that tour that, this one's going to be even longer. Here to El Paso to Phoenix, Vegas, San Diego, every major city all the way up the West Coast to Seattle, and then back down, Boise, Salt Lake City, Denver. And it's going to be the same
baby.
I know. That's actually the only place
those are real rock and roll towns. Like
the only place I don't have a show confirmed. I got
really?
12 of 13 dates.
You get all the big cities, but fucking Boise's giving you shit.
Yeah, I might have a hold now. Maybe I'd say I have what you call a soft hold, or someone considering maybe letting us try to put a show on, but yeah, man. So it's really gonna be fucking awesome, man. I can't believe. And then this time, like, we got some cool opportunities last time. we've had a ton of play on like college radio. And so because of that, in different cities, like we had some people like sort of know about us already. And like,
that's great.
In Brooklyn, we got invited into a studio to do these direct to vinyl cuts, least of all.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so like everyone's personalized. So our friends and stuff could order them beforehand. And then we did a take for each person of each song where we'd be like, hey, Johnny, this is your favorite song. We love you.
Oh,
Boom.
dude, that's
Little vinyl.
awesome, man.
Yeah. And then this time we got Press Junkie helping us out with the PR.
Yeah.
So they're going to hopefully get us,
Hey, they didn't reach out to me.
more press. I reached out to them.
No, but they're...
Oh, you mean for this?
Yeah.
The campaigns, I won't lie, I don't know exactly how it works. I've never worked with a professional PR company before, but the stuff I'm giving them isn't due until the middle of next month.
All right, so he's gonna reach out to me, and I'm gonna be like, oh, he's just on.
Yeah, they're gonna do like the last 3 singles, and then re-release the record on the first when it's
and
all
do
available
some tour press for you.
and the tour.
Yeah. Ryan, right? No.
I hope I'm not
Mercedes?
wrong on this. Mercedes.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I
yeah.
hope I'm not wrong on the
Ryan
name.
and Mercedes, they're really good.
Yeah,
people.
and it's
the
really
Romanos.
cool. She works with a band called Kalohe Kai in Hawaii, where I'm from.
Oh, really?
And I'm familiar with those guys, and the bass player for those guys is the guy who ran the music in my church growing up, Kahale Morales. So music's becoming a small world, even across the country.
Yeah, it'll get smaller, man. You'll see. It gets weird.
But Portland, we're going in for like Bridge City Sessions, which is like a show where they record. So we're going
Wicked,
in,
man.
Yeah. So we got some cool things going on. The San Francisco venue seems to me like it's owned by some hippies, and they got like a crash pad above the venue, and then the next day, Monday's our day off. So they're letting us stay there for free both nights.
Yeah.
And it's like 50 yards from the beach.
You're gonna freak out on the fucking legal weed there.
Oh man, more or less we're always smoking, so it's just the fact we won't be able to get in trouble for it. You know what I mean? Because usually we just know, like, if we get pulled over, it's over. Like we're going to jail.
Well, you know the thing you're not supposed to do, right?
Not break more than one law at once.
No. You're just not supposed to smoke weed in your van.
Well, you're not supposed to.
No. What I'm saying is, like, you'll avoid getting arrested greatly.
Oh yeah,
Like it lowers your chances to 1% from 100% to 1% if you don't smoke.
For me, man, if I have 10 contacts with the police, I'm going to jail for at least one of them. You know what I'm saying? It depends on the rate. That's giving them the benefit of the doubt. But me and John, when we got all the rock and roll gear on, long hair, been on tour for a few days, and we hate them. That's the other thing too. So we try to be cordial and stuff, but as soon as it starts to break down, it gets pretty ugly pretty fast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll take some responsibility for me getting in trouble and stuff. I'm also an asshole to those guys.
Well, hopefully this will be a tour without incident, and you'll get to smoke lots of legal weed out there in the fucking California.
I'm so excited to go out there, man. And then playing in LA. I've never really been to LA except for going to Disneyland when I was a little kid. So
It's a good place, man. Where are you going to, at Santa Monica or something?
Yeah, it's a place called Trip in Santa Monica.
I've never been there. But I've been to Santa Monica a lot.
Yeah, so maybe you could tell us like some cool spots to eat, or we get there early, like where we could go check out. Maybe is it just like it's LA, right? So everything's cool, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just see where you are. We'll go walk. I mean, hopefully that place is around. There's,
Yeah.
I was gonna say 3rd Street Promenade, but that's where I did all my Christmas shopping one year. It's a mall, but it's outside.
Playing Seattle, like the rock and roll grunge capital.
Yeah.
I was gonna tell you, about the classic rock roots. I actually, when I started the idea for the band and I started thinking of it, I was really inspired by. I grew up with reggae and hip hop as well as rock, and reggae and hip hop have been massive influences on me. And so when I started, I was really influenced by like Modest Yahoo is one great example. I just loved the blend of rock and hip hop and electronic music that he was doing. And I loved that the music was so openly talking about his spirituality.
Right. He was the Hasidic rapper. Yeah.
His first couple albums, and his third album got a lot more. I think he's secularized somewhat. His albums have definitely sort of changed, but especially the first couple. And so writing like Follow the Ghosts and stuff, that one you can kind of hear a lot more of those elements where I have some skank and some reggae and I rap at the end and stuff. But using my skills, playing guitar, and I have this rock guitar tone, and then like just realizing as I went forward that even though I was sort of trying to make that stuff, it was coming out as rock. I always say I try to sit down and write like a happy song about like the sun and some rainbows and shit, and then I end up writing about like the war between Satan versus God, or like
yeah.
jumping off a balcony and descending into hell.
Yeah.
That's just what comes out of me. I don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? So that's where it started, and then it just sort of over time became what it was. I didn't even really know, even though I'd listened to Rancid and lots of ska punk bands, I didn't really know what ska punk was. So I was kind of telling people, we're like a reggae rock band, but it's like hard rock.
Right.
And like people heard us doing this skanking. They're like, dude, that's ska punk. That's like Operation Ivy. That's like, and I was like, oh shit, it is that. You're right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I've been trying to figure it out over time, but definitely trying to make it eclectic. And with this last record, Andy coming in on the synths, Omar doing lots of magic, putting some 808s behind some of the drums and different things like that. I hoping that even though we're coming from a place of being inspired by all this music from the 90s and the 70s, that it sounds modern, you know what I mean, to someone who listens to like a lot of music I love, like Kid Cudi or something, that they can listen to it and sonically it fulfills them.
I feel like people your age don't have walls up about music. Like it doesn't like they'll like the Carpenters and Led Zeppelin and Limp Bizkit and Carly Rae Jepsen and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. You know what I mean? And like
They just like a song or whatever.
Yeah, it's like so. Yeah, I think that I don't know. I think in Austin at least, going around like our age group seems to be these like kids who are like in their early 20s or teens who are like these rocker kids. I don't really know where they're getting it from, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But after that, I feel like most of our crowd is a little older than us.
Yeah.
Like
I could see that.
in their
I could
30s,
see that. Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
But I think that's a testament to like really what we're doing. I think if you kind of miss what was going on in the 90s a little bit, and you're also like, I would joke like you're tired of like, young rock bands who just go up in like button down shirts and stand there like, yeah, I hope you like the songs.
Yeah.
Here we go. We're up there like, hey, who wants to suck our cocks? Yeah. You know what I mean? Who's that guy over there? Fuck that guy. So, we're just like, we're trying to liven it up. We're really cocky up there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, that's just how we do it. We like to like be rock and roll. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Tongues out, guy liner on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
there
yeah.
you go.
Yeah, baby. You have a girlfriend?
Yeah.
You say?
Yeah, a fiance.
A fiance. Holy shit.
I know, man.
Things got serious, man.
It's crazy, man. Yeah, dude, she is the best.
What does she do?
She's a teacher.
Oh, okay.
6th grade teacher down in Buda.
Okay.
And she's a total sweetheart, man. She's like, I never didn't think I was ready for like a serious relationship. And once we got into a relationship, in addition to like just the way that she supports me and everything that I'm doing, all the bad parts of me that I'm super scared of, she seems to be able to deal with pretty easily. And she's just fucking awesome, man. And even though it's pretty heavy, pretty much, a lot of people know now, she's actually been going through cancer this last year.
Oh, man, I'm so sorry.
I know. It's, to be honest, I'm a little bit more of a pussy about it than she is. She's strong as a fucking rock. And overall is kicking ass, going through the treatments and stuff.
Good.
And for the most part is feeling good, working her job, out at shows. And so everything should be fine, but definitely this last year.
Oh, she's young, right?
Yeah, she's a year older than me.
Shit.
Yeah, so, it's just one of those fluke things, man. She never had symptoms and stuff like that. It's cervical cancer, went in for those normal, like, checkups. And just something's weird in here, and then the whole shebang, So things have definitely gotten a hell of a lot more serious. But, I've been really lucky, man, that I haven't dealt with a whole lot of loss in my life. It's only been in my 20s here. Unfortunately, the very first bassman of Souls Extolled, back in college, died of a heroin overdose, my buddy Connor. And, since then, a couple of my friends have passed, unfortunately. But I, other than that, I didn't have to deal with, like, my grandparents were already gone by the time I came up and stuff. So I just haven't really had to deal with that. And it just made me realize so much more about life and all the things around me that I already think about a lot, all the existential stuff in the music becoming so much more, real.
Yeah.
And even though it's tough, I think we're going to be okay. And I think it's made us, like, so much stronger.
That's
and
amazing,
so much
man.
more mature,
Yeah.
So, and it just shows you just got to live life every day, man. We could die out on the road anytime, or anything could always happen. You just got to just like love everybody and enjoy that experience you have in that moment. Because think too much about the future, it's all going to shit at some point.
Zach Black, baby.
Hell yeah.
Dude, it's great talking to you.
Hey, man, thank you
Yeah,
so much for
a
having
really
me,
good
man.
conversation, man. It got deep. We talked about some stuff.
I'm a huge fan, man.
Dug in.
Thank
Thanks,
you so
man.
much.
The record is 2022, or if you can't handle Roman numerals, MMXXII.
Oh, yeah.
Go to soulsextolled.com. Gang, I know you guys live all over the place. I know they're playing September 17th at Come and Tube It. Is that a thing?
Oh, yeah.
San Marcos, Friday, October 7th, and Sunday, October 9th at Frights and Sounds.
Yep, that one we're playing on the
Music Fest.
8th.
8th.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, your thing's completely wrong.
So 2 San Marcos gigs. Who would have thought?
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. And then Saturday, November 5th, here in Austin, they'll be doing their tour launch. Come on out, give them some money so they can buy some weed in California.
Yeah, man.
And then all over the West Coast, man, look them up, soulsextolled.com. They'll be somewhere in a town near you in the West on between November 8th and November 20th. Guys, come see them, buy them a drink, maybe, buy them a coffee or something because you're going to be tired. And, dude, it's been great talking to you. Great job on the record.
Rock and roll till the end of time, baby.
All right, that was Zach Black, guitarist and vocalist for the band Souls Extolled. Their album 2022 on sale now wherever it is you buy your albums. Go to soulsextolled.com to see about buying it. If you stream the record, you can go to your streaming services, but you won't get the whole thing until it's all out. They'll be playing tomorrow night in San Marcos for the Frights and Sounds Music Festival 2022, and of course kicking off their West Coast tour on November 5th, Saturday, November 5th, here in Austin at the Mohawk. Go to soulsextolled.com for all of your Souls Extolled needs. And gang, don't forget, when you're out there on the internet checking out Souls Extolled, you can subscribe to this podcast, getting new shows all the time, brand new shows. Gang, I have Doug Cosmo Clifford from Creedence Clearwater Revival on the show on Monday. We're dropping 3 shows next week. Have fun at ACL. I'm going to be dropping an ACL. I've got 2 people playing at ACL on the show on Wednesday. I'm not even going to tell you who it is because it's such a surprise. But it's not the Red Hot Chili Peppers. It's someone from here. Yeah, lots of great conversations coming up. I hope you enjoy this music from Souls Extolled. Subscribe to this podcast. Follow us on Facebook. How Did I Get Here? And you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at Johnny Gowdy. Thank you so much for listening to the show. Have a great weekend. Enjoy Austin City Limits Music Festival. And if you're not going to it, come out Sunday night to 310 Austin City Limits Live for John Lennon's birthday, the 32nd annual John Lennon's birthday. Have a great weekend. Let's get down.
Crying out for justice.